All right.
Oh, go.
You got it?
Yeah, thank you.
No, you don't. There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right.
All right. What's up, Blueprint family? How are you all doing tonight? Thank you all for joining us here on a Monday night with July 10th, 2023. And tonight's topic is too high maintenance to date.
Mm.
I believe a lot of guys probably ran into a high maintenance female, you know, if not one or two in their lifetime, and realized that my money is not long enough. And so we're going to talk about these, type of women, men and women, high maintenance people. Honey,
Yeah,
what is this topic?
situation. More
Right.
so like because we'll go over how maintenance can apply to, a lot of different high maintenance in particular can apply to a lot of different topics and things and people and places and stuff. So, we'll go through all of that and talk about, some signs that maybe you may be coming off high maintenance as a man or a woman, but more so I think this is about our lovely ladies. So
Mm-hmm.
but it'll be a great show nonetheless. Men and women would certainly be able to take something from this. But we have, excuse our delay, we're always like trying new things, and it's, with the kids, it's always like last minute wanting to try new things. But we're giving a new look. We kind of moved our Instagram view or camera up a little bit more because we're getting a lot more viewers on Instagram. So thank you always for tuning in. And
Yep.
yep, YouTube. That looks good.
Yep. And we made it over 5,000 viewers this week, this weekend, past weekend. So thank you all for subscribing to our Instagram. And then also we gained some more viewers on our YouTube. So thank
Yeah.
you all for joining there as well. So let's keep those numbers up.
Yeah.
And, as always, this is a live call in show. So if you all have any questions, comments, please share them with us. And we will be more than happy to respond to those and provide input if you're asking for some help in regards to relationships or family.
Yep. And one more quick thing before we get started. Last show, I mentioned that I used to sell like different things, so like body butters, deodorants, and stuff. And that got me and my husband talking. Like, hey, it's not that I used to sell it. I'm just not going as hard promoting my, things that I do on a regular because I was so focused with like building and wife economics, the whole wife school and stuff like that. So all of that was kind of at the forefront, but I was still making residual sales and doing business. So we thought, hey, why not actually introduce certain products that we think will be great for men and women and couples in particular as time goes along. I would love to show how couples could use products together too, all in the name of supporting businesses, black business, and growing, and just taking advantage of opportunities and really being able to offer a lot of different value to a lot of different people in a lot of different ways. So not only relationship advice, but maybe some great products if you are interested. So anyways, last time we definitely talked about the butters that I do sell, and frankincense and myrrh in particular I think would be a great highlight for tonight because, of course, frankincense and myrrh is a century old remedy for great things like calming the body, relaxation, improving blemishes, dark spots, aging. Not to mention, it's a great smell for both men and women. And we offer it in two different sizes. We have the family size for our families because that was when we started Gaia's Gold. That was our main focus, was really providing natural products for families in bulk because these are things that I use for my family. And in particular, we're going to tie this right on in with the high maintenance because that is pretty much a major tip that I learned as a woman and doing beauty, regimens and stuff like that. It's always great if you can DIY some stuff, right? So that was just something we're going to drop on in, and maybe every show offer some products that we think will be beneficial, or our top main products. So we'll see. But anyways, let's get on into the topic, huh,
Yep, let's go.
All right, so let me pull up the question so that can be seen, of course. Do you want? All right. All right. So, as usual, we do our questions and that people could write in. This is a question that was written in. So, it's always recommended wifeconomics.com/submit a question if you want your question answered, but you want to, remain anonymous and really kind of want to full dig in on some general advice in the most part. So, 2 high maintenance to date. I want to make that actually look a little different on the screen for playback later for YouTube. There we go. That looks so better. All right. So a guy I went on a date with told me he likes me but would never date me because I'm too high maintenance and he wouldn't be able to keep up. Is that a thing or is this BS? For context, I'm 30 years old and I enjoy my femininity, so I like to dress up and keep my hair and nails done. I do have a history of being taken to certain types of places by men, but I also take myself to those places when I want to or go with my girlfriends. Point is, I can afford to treat myself the way men treat me, and I do. I've also been friends with this guy for years, so he knows me a bit of my history with other men. He knows that men tend to like giving me gifts and in some cases money, but I don't need or ask for these things. And I have never dated a man for any other reason than that I like him as a person. Being spoiled has always just been a pleasant perk. I'm also not a superficial person. I enjoy picnic, or just going for a drive as much as a date in a fancy restaurant. For me, it makes me feel like I'm being judged based on how my exes treated me rather than what I actually demand in a relationship. Is my assessment correct or am I giving off high maintenance vibes that need to be checked?
Need more information. What constitutes high maintenance?
Exactly. And that's what we're actually gonna dig into. That was my my first thought too.
Right.
Because that
High
could be to
maintenance.
any person. It depends,
Right. It all depends on where you come from and where you at. I mean, high maintenance to one person may not be high maintenance to another, but um it has to deal with your income, how much you make, how much you're spending, and how much you're saving. To me, because if you're spending more than what you're saving and you're struggling to paying bills, then yeah, you're high maintenance. You don't know how to balance your life and balance your budget, and you're
Right.
not making sense of your finances. Just because men buy you gifts, that doesn't make you high maintenance. Just because you get your hair done and your nails done does not make you high maintenance. I think that if you get it done more often than not and your bills go unpaid, yeah, you could be high maintenance and you can't afford those things, and that's irresponsible, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Um,
That makes me think of, if I may, her expectations might be too high, like, or maybe that might come off as high maintenance to a man. When I think about
what are
some
her
ways,
expectations?
well, I don't know. When I just think about the general way that a woman could present herself, sometimes in regular conversation, certain things that a woman might say might come off unrealistic or too high maintenance for a man. So aside from, I guess, the general aspect of, wanting gifts or whatever, or hair, we'll get on to that later, but maybe like if you off rip talk about, oh, your man has to financially provide and he has to do this, he has to, I like expensive dates, I like to be catered to, I like to be showered with compliments and gifts, it just comes off as you need a lot. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just being able, like, and she says, she likes a man for the man, which is great, but that has to be, how are you communicating that? Are you communicating that by saying, I'm interested in this relationship or a relationship because of the things that we can do together, how we can build, how we can make each other feel, all of that great stuff? Or is it, for, I want the financial security, I want a man who take care of me, I want,
Well, I mean, if she's saying that she's high maintenance because men are telling her that she's high maintenance, to me, that means that men are telling her that what she wears is expensive, what she drive is expensive, and what she's asking for as far as money is too much. And that's what I'm thinking. What they mean, or what she means, that is she too high maintenance because um she's asking for the expensive 5-star dinner restaurant every weekend, but she's saying that she's not, because she also doesn't mind a beach picnic or whatever the case may be.
Well, that's what I said. How is that being communicated? Because she mentioned that often she talked about her exes. And that's one thing we greatly just kind of discourage on when you're going on these dates. You don't need to flaunt what you did with your exes and all this other stuff. And I get it. She's saying, I guess, because the guy she's dating knows the exes or whatever. Sure. But in particular, you don't need to compare during that time or flaunt what this other man has done for you, because that can come off as this is what you're expecting. This is what you want him to do too, because this was your standard. This is what you had, per se. That's
Right.
just, it could be presented differently. She could be saying one thing, but actually coming off as another way, just by the other things she's saying.
Right. Yeah, I just need some more background information from her. Like, what is her shopping habits like? To me, when I think of high maintenance, that's, you buying new outfits every weekend at Saks. You internet shopping and buying all this expensive, $1,000 dresses every weekend or every other weekend or once a month or whatever. That's high maintenance.
Yeah.
But you only bring in $3,000 a month. Or you make $10,000 a month and that's what you're buying. That's high maintenance too.
Right.
So I mean, it depends on that is not being high maintenance doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. But what I think what's bad is if you can't afford this stuff and you out here buying it. And that is that does not make sense at all as far as your survival and what you value in life. That means you got your priorities messed up.
Yeah, come off as materialistic. Like all you're interested in is the lifestyle that a man can provide.
Yeah, but or either
support you in,
or either ignorant.
Yeah.
You're just so damn ignorant that you're just spending money and not considering the important things in life. But materialism, yes, by far, it goes with vanity to me. So materialism and vanity of that's one of the 7 sins. You shouldn't get caught up in all this material stuff because you can't take it with you. And I'm gonna leave that there. But it's not some. I mean, we all like nice stuff. I value stuff of quality.
Right.
I like and often at times quality means expensive, but also too, to me, quality means that it's hard to break. And that's what I value. So, like I tell you about, instead of buying, right. And then also something that has resale value.
Right.
I would rather consider buying shoes that has a resale value instead of buying a pair of $15 shoes that will be used up in 3 months.
Right.
And I can't sell them back or to anybody who may want to buy them. So, to me, there's an investment aspect when you buy things that are considered high maintenance, but you have to be responsible and not ignorant about it and making sure that you can afford these things. And then what the rule of thumb of affordability is, being able to buy these 3 things, with 3 times over. So, if you have $400 and you bought a pair of $100 shoes, then yes, you can afford it. And especially if all your bills are paid.
Right.
So just remember that, that is a rule of thumb as far as affordability. So if you look at something and you want it, look at your bank account. So can you afford it? Meaning, do you have 3 times that cost if you buy it still? Then you can afford it. But if not, then it may be something that you need to save for, to be honest with you. So but materialism is different. If you have somebody there that always value expensive things and that's all that they buy, then they need to really consider themselves and review themselves and really take a step back and be like, hey, can I really afford this stuff? And if they can't and they buy stuff that they can't afford, then you have a problem. You have a problem where you need to actually, what do they call it, a shopaholic? Shopaholics do have problems. It's almost like gambling. They just impulsive buy stuff and without regard, and and then they go home and cry about it. And then those are things you really need to pay attention to, because if you are that type of person, then you need help. You need some sort of counseling in order to to basically understand what your issue is and how to get over it, because you're
Mm-hmm.
dooming yourself. And then these things may also doom a relationship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially if you don't agree on
Right. I
those.
mean, some men don't even know that these women are materialistic until they actually live with them, or either they pay attention after they get married, because they're like, whoa, where's all my money going? Where's
Yeah.
all of our money going? And we can't, fix the roof on our house, or
Yeah.
get the car out the shop or something like that. And
Mm-hmm.
then that dooms relationship. But finances is number three. The third reason why people get divorced. So yeah, realistic expectations in relationships,
Yeah.
people. So
Yeah. And speaking, good segue, because another thing that I can kind of think of when it comes to maybe high maintenance, redirect from the materialistic side of it, but more so maybe if a woman is too focused on her career, then sometimes when a man is looking to try to figure out where he could fit in, or where, like, if you would even have enough time for a relationship, that can come off as like, too much. Like, if you're just overworker, you're always busy, sometimes that can be considered in a way like high maintenance, because it's going to be hard to keep in touch with you. It's going to be hard.
well,
Like, you got to go out of your way to track you down because you in 5, 6, 7 meetings of the day. You know what I mean?
that's a
Like,
workaholic.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
I mean, sometimes the trade-off is that's what you trading your time for, is to work.
Yeah.
If that makes you happy, then that just makes you happy. But understand that it's hard for you to
Manage the
manage,
relationship.
right, manage relationship, raise a family, be a mother, and those type of aspects.
And that's what men are looking for, honestly, when they're looking to have a wife and be married.
Right. Well, it depends. I mean, what type of men that are out
Yeah.
here?
And the stage,
I
yeah.
think
Yeah, yeah.
real men are looking for wives. Bottom line. But like men who don't have themselves together yet and struggling themselves to pay bills, they're looking for someone who help to do that 50-50 love type thing with them. But good luck with that, because a lot of women aren't trying to struggle with you. So that's the reason why it's very important for a man to get himself together and establish. What I
Yeah.
mean by establish, making sure that you have a 2-person income, so that you can basically, it'll make it 1,000 times easier to find a wife.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, because you are recognized as a provider.
Yeah, that's true. Of course, like, not all women are high maintenance, so we're not trying to stereotype here or anything like that. These
No,
are just simple, observations of how it could come off to a man, and sometimes deter a man from dating you, because you're giving off these vibes. So because of that, it'd be great to talk about it. She actually asked, what are the vibes? So let's talk about some of these vibes that could be coming off high maintenance, and how to kind of put them in check if you recognize that, hey, I may be a little bit too high maintenance where it's scaring people off.
right. And I want to say this first before we go
Uh-huh.
ahead. Real men are looking for women that are resourceful, meaning that they know how to um, make money themselves, but also to um, make money with their time, but they don't dedicate all their time to making money. If
Yeah.
if you get what I'm saying, and also too, they don't always spend their money either.
Mhm.
They may also have investments, or either they may allow you to invest money together as well.
Yeah.
So just understand that that is what, especially 6-figure men, they don't care how much money you got. They're more than likely to spoil you, but also too, they want resourcefulness so that you don't spend all of their money as well.
Right.
So
So true.
and then also too, average men, they have, it's hard for them to scrape up money
Right.
to spend on you. So
Right.
that in their situation, a high maintenance woman is a red flag, is a big red flag, because
Mhm.
that's they're one paycheck away from eviction.
Yeah, and it can mess up what they're trying to do, even if they're just putting all their money towards their bills. It's not a bad thing if that's what you're working to do. That's what you have to do at the moment. But
Right. Yeah, especially
don't
now in
come
this
ruin
economy,
it.
people are trying to survive,
Yeah,
So
got to be mindful. Yeah, really just about who you're dating. So the term high maintenance can really be used to describe people, relationships, objects, So it just in general refers to someone that requires either a lot of time, or a lot of attention, or a lot of effort. So those are the main things that, really will show when we get into those examples in particular, but those are the main things that talk about, hey, if I could be possibly high maintenance, I require a lot of time, a lot of attention, and a lot of effort. So in the love
and a lot of money too.
Yeah,
You don't leave out
that's
the money.
true. Yeah.
You don't want to forget the money part.
Yeah, right. That's so true.
Expensive. Because I mean, when I think of high maintenance, I think of expensive. You know, the time and effort part, I got that. You know, that's cool with me. But
we're talking in terms of a relationship, in the love department. But yeah, certainly for like a car or like a house, or like, you know, like you buy that expensive tail house that, you know, you got to maintain it, to clean it, to update it, or whatever, you know, like all this stuff. Like, so things that come along with it if it's high maintenance. But in general, like for people, when they're talking about people that are high maintenance, you're talking about someone who is always complaining or demanding a lot of attention. That comes off as high maintenance. Or someone who is very particular about their surroundings, needing everything to be put in a certain way and done a certain way. That's very high maintenance.
That's obsessive, compulsive.
But it comes off high, you know, it's very high maintenance, and that might be intimidating for. And this could be a man or a woman, you know, because some men are like that too. Like especially if they've been single for so long, right? And a woman wants to come in and like decorate it or whatever. They're like, oh no, I've had this.
That's what women do, though.
Exactly. But you know,
but that's not high maintenance. I don't think it is. But go ahead.
In particular, it could be come off as high maintenance because you're particular and you're only, so say for example, if you're like trying to go out and take this person out, you got to be mindful of like all these different things because they're so darn particular. And if any little thing is off, you know, they'll blow up and the whole date is ruined. You know what I'm saying? Which is a lot to take in for somebody who's not really ready for that, or has never had to do that or experience even the things that you've experienced. So it can come off as high maintenance in a way, that way.
Okay.
Another one would be like someone who has a lot of emotional needs. So this can look like constant needing reassurance in a relationship, or maybe even like compliments if you're overly like how I look, like, you know, do this look
insecure.
Yeah, that can come off as high maintenance because it's going to require that person to give a lot of effort and attention to you because you're not 100% emotionally
available
secure or aware or emotionally, you know, you're not in check completely yet to where you don't need that over reassurance or whatever from a spouse. So that can come off as high maintenance too. What do you think? Okay, so let's go into like relationships, right? And how this whole dynamic of being high maintenance could actually play out into a relationship. And sometimes what would be considered a high maintenance relationship is a relationship that is constantly filled with drama or conflict. You're constantly needing to put a fire out in a way, because every 5 minutes, and that goes back to what I was saying about the particular person. Like you're always needing to figure out like how to ease some type of drama or conflict because it just always exists. That is a high maintenance relationship. No relationship should be filled with drama and chaos and like, you know, it's too much. It's high maintenance, not very appealing to a man. And so another one would be a relationship where one partner is like always putting another partner first and neglecting the other partner. So say, for example, like if you are dating someone.
The other partner? You mean dating two people?
No, like spouses, like one of the other. One
or
spouse
themselves.
to the other spouse. Yeah, like they're putting.
Where one partner is always putting the other first.
And neglecting their own needs.
Okay, thank you.
So, yeah. Sorry. No, so yeah, like when you're dating, and if the other partner is so needing so much attention, or like you having to cater to them, or like whatever that they need, and you're not able to get yourself ready or in check or taken care of because you're constantly
they're inconsiderate.
Yes.
Right.
That can in a way be high maintenance. It's just giving you another way of thinking of being high maintenance, because it's not just a materialistic thing. These are the vibes that a guy could be getting, or, you know, a woman too. I have to admit, some of these things men could do too, unfortunately, in this world. But anyways.
And especially this last point of relationship where one person is always trying to change the other person.
Yeah.
And that goes to what we always say every night. You can't change people. You can only inspire them to change.
Yeah. And for women, that's actually the reverse role here. In particular, I think of women who may take on the project men, how they always say, like it's hard to get them to do stuff or, take care of the household or step up to be a provider or whatever the case may be. That is high maintenance on the woman's part, because she's having to maintain that, or even like a man, if he's out and he's working and the woman doesn't want to do anything, doesn't want to cook, sits home, doesn't want to do nothing, like to support the relationship. That is a high maintenance relationship, because you're not getting the benefit of being in a relationship and with a spouse who is wanting to work with you. That's, really what you want in the end, in particular. So, yes. But I do want to say that this doesn't necessarily mean that the person is like a bad person. So when we go back to the materialism part of it, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's a bad person for you. If, for example, this young lady does like nice things and she mentioned that she can provide them for herself, that doesn't mean she's a bad person. That just means that that's not quite the woman for you if, her standards are a little bit, more than you can afford. It's just the reality of it sometimes, but in particular, when I'm talking about the high maintenance sides, when it comes to like the mental part of a relationship, and where if a spouse is needing so much attention, that can really be more so damaging to the relationship, more so than trying to keep up with somebody that, may have a higher standard of living than you or whatever. But it's just, in particular, that can feel draining if a person in that high maintenance relationship is constantly draining you and not allowing you to get what you need from the relationship, or just like, not willing to compromise or make time to, move, do the things you need to do so that the relationship works out, then, that is definitely one of those red flag relationships where you should move on, because, in particular, that's a hard person to work with. So.
Being, like I said before, being inconsiderate. Mm-hmm. So if you're in a relationship with somebody who's inconsiderate, knowing that you need, say for instance, you all had a long weekend catering birthday party for your youngest child, and the wife was up doing everything, and the husband wasn't doing anything but fellowshipping and hanging out and partying with the other, grown-ups, adults, and your wife says, hey, on Sunday morning, I need help cleaning all this stuff up, and you're like, I'm too tired to do so. You're talking about stuff like that, like high maintenance in that aspect.
Yeah, when you're not contributing. Yeah.
Right.
And one spouse, it can play out in many ways. Yes, that's an example for sure. It just can play out, and it's hard on one spouse, Yeah.
Yeah, it's draining.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not healthy, and you don't want your relationship to feel that way. So that's why it's really important to get that high maintenance vibe, whatever it is, in check. So then that way you're not ruining a good thing before it even gets started, or even worse, running off a good thing before you even get started. So
right. So yeah, it's good to check yourself to make sure that you don't, that this isn't you, that this isn't the type of person that you are, who's always needing attention, always wanting to take instead of receive, and wanting to help out. And so, in another aspect, high maintenance isn't always about money. Yeah. So this is something that is new, to me, as far as what the meaning of high maintenance in relationships go. So this is really good.
Yeah, good. Glad you enjoyed.
Yep.
Just
good
a little
job,
simple redirect I kind of thought about, because you never know. Like it does go further, deeper than, materialism. So
right.
Now, we can go ahead and kind of get into some signs that you may be coming off high maintenance. As always, we like to say this isn't a beat down session or anything like that, but it's really about awareness. Awareness is the first step to really making a change or working towards something better. So here are some awareness of some signs that you may be coming off high maintenance that you don't even, in a way, realize. So one, you're always complaining or demanding attention, just like you were just talking about. So if you're constantly complaining about your day, your job, or your life, it can be off-putting to someone who's just really wanting to enjoy their time with you. And instead it's like a soap opera or a soapbox section, that's not fun. Or they may feel like they have to walk on eggshells with you because they can't do anything right. So that goes right back to that whole thing about planning a date. If you're so particular, this guy can't make the date perfect, he's not going to want to be with you if you're making it just so hard to have a simple date and enjoy your time. That is not appealing at all.
Hold on. Oh, let me help Roxy.
Our dog done got stuck. Come here, Roxy.
I got her. Go ahead, honey.
All right. sweet little dog has got herself stuck in a predicament. Sorry. So another sign that, you may be coming off high maintenance. You're particular, this is the one that's more obvious, but you're particular about your appearance and you really just care about that and your surroundings, and you have a lot of specific treatments that you just need to have and you can't go without them. And the luxury stuff, you just have to have that. Certain things have to look a certain way or feel a certain way. Like all of that can, just really be off-putting again to someone who is not really ready for that, if that's not their lifestyle, or even if they're just trying to get to know you. It can just come off materialistic, and that's just not fun for somebody who's really just wanting to get to know you and not the material stuff that makes you up. So that in particular is one sign that you could be coming off material, high maintenance, and you kind of want to avoid or tone that down a bit. Just if you're pretty and you like, to look a certain way, let that be, but don't let it be so time consuming or draining. And later on, we're going to get into actually some tips for my ladies on how you can really make even your beauty regimen more resourceful and, just make it overall better for the relationship so that it doesn't be off-putting in the end. Another way is, of course, you have a lot of emotional needs. So we kind of talked about the part if you need a lot of attention or constant reassurance or compliments. That can be super draining for someone who's not big on maybe giving words of affirmation, or even, just not equipped on having to always keep somebody happy or keep them fulfilled in a way emotionally. So just be mindful of, how you're coming off. If you're constantly asking or, asking your spouse how you feel or how they like this, or, you're not confident within yourself, just really take that in on analyzing maybe if I have some self-esteem issues or something like that, and how all of that could be related, and if there's something that you really have to work on, because you should really be emotionally full within yourself. You should be able to give yourselves those affirmative confirmation, those confirmative affirmations that you naturally want within yourself. So that way, in a way, your man will want, or woman would want to give that to you, because you're just exuding that, it'll just naturally come out. So that's one way. I am here. You want to catch on in?
And then also, too, you're always late or cancel plans at the last minute.
Yeah.
So if you're consistently late on dates and you're canceling plans at the last minute, they can seem as inconsiderate. Yeah. So that's what I was talking about before, inconsiderate and high maintenance. So your date may start to feel like they can't rely on you, or you don't value their time. So that's a red flag, and these people are not going to want to deal with you. So the people you're trying to pursue a date, they're more than likely are not going to call you back.
Yeah.
So those are things that you need to pay attention to.
Yeah. You certainly want to show your spouse or even the person that you're dating that you are not only excited to see them by showing up on time, but more importantly, that you appreciate them even taking you out on a date or being with you. But the last one in particular is if you expect your date to pay for everything and you don't expect any type of compromise on if this is something that maybe should be alternated, if y'all take turns or if you split the bill, or even some guys, are 100% okay with that. It's always nice though as a woman to offer that and be considerate and just see like, hey, I don't want to come off as I'm just looking at you like a free meal or anything. So, hey, like, would you like me to pay? Or how about this? I know a great restaurant next time that I'd love to go to. How about I take you? That is so attractive for a guy. So do things like that. It will really show that, hey,
for a man to pay a woman to pay a man's date.
Yeah, I think that's to offer, just to offer. You don't have to accept it, but just to offer, because it doesn't show that, I just want a meal. In this day and age, I kind of think you gotta now more than ever communicate that you're not just out for the free meal or the money or whatever. It's actually you're enjoying this person's time and you don't mind spending some money, especially if you got it. Like a lot of these women want to say, I got it. So, okay, you got it. Like, show this man that you're really willing to invest in his time too. And that means maybe paying for the date. I know I expected you to have a little pushback on that.
Yeah, because like, to be honest with you, like even if yeah, I mean, I'm the one that always believes that the man should always pay for the date. But unless you're coming from a position where if that date was your last paycheck for your rent, you know, that is a horrible, decision to make as
Mm-hmm.
far as a guy. Then that man is going to expect the woman to pay for at least her meal. So I understand. I remember, making an average salary, but I never wanted a woman to pay for me.
I know.
But some guys
Yeah.
think that's cool or whatever. But I don't think so. I think that's kind of
Yeah.
that's kind of weak. To be honest with you, on the man's part, I would never accept a woman to pay for a meal for me,
Yeah.
or
Exactly. Yeah.
anyone else at that. Like I would never expect a man to pay for a meal for me either,
Right.
as well. But
Like I said, I expected you honestly to have some pushback, but I wanted to say that just for the simple fact of it's it will give that shock value of I'm not just out here for the money. Because for an alpha man, he's gonna be like, yeah, an alpha man wants to do that. A good man, a good provider, he wants to do that. And in fact, commonly it's a flex. You want to be able to show that I can pay this. It's how many times you go on a date with or I don't know, but if you go on a group dates, the guys fight to want to pay the bill because it's just a flex. Like it's just who it is, and I get that. Before men,
if a woman
nowadays,
tried to pay for my meal, we were on a date and she would not, she would insist on paying for my meal, I would probably get up and leave.
Really?
To be honest with you, yeah, because that's insulting. Yeah, that's insulting to me.
That's
because
interesting. I'm glad I said this.
Yeah. I mean, some guys take it that way. It feels like an insult. Like I can't afford to pay for my own meal. If at the most she can pay for her own meal, I think especially
Yeah.
if average men out there who you're barely making money, that's okay. I think that's okay if the woman paid for her own meal, but don't let her pay for yours. And then ladies, if you're dating an average man and he can't, come up, and if he can't scrape the money together to pay for your meal or ask, especially the first date, you may need to consider, of course, because he's not in that financial standings in order to, provide. But that's something that you all can grow together to do. To be honest with you, if he's worth it, like my wife said, invest that time into that man so that you all can get to a better financial standing position.
Yeah.
And if it's reciprocated, so if you all both may go back and forth splitting bills or what have you, eventually you need to get that man to the point where he's paying your meals. That's all I'm saying about that. It's only but so long that you all need to be playing that game of who's paying the check this time.
Yeah, you should be building.
Yeah, because this is I believe it's the man's role to pay that bill, unless you're a man who doesn't have a lot and you're dating a woman who has a lot more than you and she really wants you. Then she's going to consider paying your bills, and you're going to have to understand that, hey, well, yeah, she's a financial breadwinner in this situation, and I wouldn't have picked this expensive restaurant because my budget doesn't can't withstand this. So according to high maintenance, then if she wanted to go out with me, then yeah, in that situation. But yeah, it makes you look weak as a man. But other than that, yeah, I can see that would be a circumstance where a woman would pay for a man's meal. Is if he's like a beta male and then she's an alpha female. Right. In that situation, and she really wants him to always be there with him. Yeah. So I can see that happening.
I'm glad we had this and actually had that talk. And I thought that would be interesting just to hear you elaborate a little more on that, because I knew that understanding from our just, dynamic, but just to hear that and understand, because often too, a woman, you could recognize whether or not, like you had said, if the guy is in a financial position to even want to have a wife, or is he just looking to have some fun or something like that, because he's really not ready to take on a family and stuff.
Right. I mean, and then maybe this guy is like, so, he really wants you bad and he just didn't have the money. If he came out and said, look, I really wanted to take you out on this date, he needed to tell you this before you go on the date, to be honest with you. But if he had a hard time saying that, I didn't think that you was going to order, 2 Wagyu steaks and I had the burger, and the bill is like $75. I didn't think it's going to be this expensive. Is there any way
$75 for a Wagyu steak, Greg?
Well, if you order 2, yeah, that's 50 plus the burger, whatever, and plus the tip or what have you, or whatever. But and then he says that
That's if
I'll
I
make
cook
it
it.
up. Huh?
I said that's if I cook it.
Oh,
You go to a restaurant, why goose steak gonna cost more than that?
yeah, I know that.
The luxury of
But
your wife.
you know what I'm saying. But
Yeah, okay.
if he breaks it down that way and you're cool
Yeah.
with that, then by all means, yeah, he's asking for you to pay his meal. So you need to check him next time to make sure he has
Right.
enough money to reciprocate the the situation next time. But
Yeah.
like I said, eventually that man needs to be the um eventually that man needs to be paying for all your dates.
Yeah.
Especially if you all are coming from a homogamous situation dealing with finances.
Mhm.
So just be just pay attention to that
Yeah.
part, because I think a man should be the one that's always standing up to accept the bill, especially during a date.
Yeah. And that's different, considering some the conversation on the internet and like I guess how people like perceive so much about relationships now with it being like 50-50 and stuff like that, the whole conversation about it. So I mean, it's interesting, in everybody's situation it's different, but it's nice to hear a perspective on it.
No, I heard guys say that, oh my goodness, she said she would pay for my meal for me, and then some other guy said, oh, she's a keeper. And I'm like, that makes her a keeper, that she'll pay? Because I mean, it just makes her nice and kind, it really does, but that doesn't mean that she's a keeper, because she's going to pay for your meals, because next thing you know, she's going to tell you to clean her house and clean out my gutters and cut my grass and
you
all
said
this
it's
other
more
stuff.
of a feminine position to take, if you allow, in a way.
I believe so. I mean, if I'm wrong, somebody in the comments check me and say something like, hey, no, it ain't, or whatever the case may be. But we can have a dialogue and discussion about this. But I don't think that it's a wise thing for a man to receive free meals from women. Not unless he's like in complete destitute and he told her that we're gonna go out on a date and, oh well, I ain't eating all week. You need to tell her that. You
Y'all
need to
need
tell
to be on no
somebody that.
date.
Oh, right, exactly. You don't. But I mean, if that's what it takes to get a meal, goodness gracious. Like, I mean, some people out there need help, but
yeah,
man, my goodness. But let her know beforehand that, like, hey, I'm completely broke. I could bring this microwave popcorn and we can have a picnic or whatever the case may be. I mean, you got to be honest. You don't set this woman up for failure, and then she gets with you and marries you, and then she's mad as hell at you because you can't provide nothing.
Right.
Like you just sold her a dream or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. Starting the relationship off wrong and with an unbalanced dynamic in a way, especially if you as a man want to be the provider.
The opposite of high maintenance, you're very low maintenance. You're very low maintenance to the point that it's a red flag. Like you can't even support yourself. But no, yeah, all jokes aside, don't let men out there, make sure you're well established. Don't let women pay for your dates. That may be the last time you actually get a date from her. And then if you're in that town, then she's gonna tell all the other women out there, and that may be the last time you get a date in that town. So I wouldn't advise it. I would not advise it. And if young men out there who are listening, don't let a girl pay for your date. If you're out on a date with a girl, pay for her meal, please, because that does make you look weak, and very needy, and it looks like you're trying to get over on her. So don't do that. I would not condone that at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. Now that we've kind of gone through some of the tips that can show that maybe you may be high maintenance. If you are concerned that you may be high maintenance, there are a few things that you could do that would really help overall. So now we're going to get into some of your solutions of things you can kind of implement into your life that would more so balance out that high maintenance, right? So first one, of course, be aware of your expectations. So we talk a lot about this, and it's, very common to say this, but it's super important that you take a step back and really just think about what you're asking for your date, or from your date in particular, what you're expecting from them, what you are saying you require or need in order to go on a date. Just really look and see if this is realistic, or even if it's, putting too much pressure on the man or maybe even the woman in the long run. That's kind of something you got to pay attention to.
Thank you out there. Thank you.
Oh,
I got a comment. Good advice, sir.
Yeah. Great advice. Yep, for sure. Next, of course, being flexible. So that kind of goes in what we were talking about a little bit, being willing to compromise and not being so set in your ways, right? And not just saying that this is how things have to be and you're
Right,
not even
yes.
interested in anything else.
Yeah, don't be overbearing, especially in those relationships. You know, those nagging people. And I don't want to beat up women, but a lot of times in relationships, men say that women nag them a lot, or whatever the case may be. Um, so just learn to be, you, you know, just learn to thank you, baby. Just learn to be flexible. So if things don't work out, you know, don't blame your husband or boyfriend or whatever the case may be, um, and try to beat them down because things outside of what he has control of may have affect the situation, whereas weather or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, whatever
you
you're
know.
hoping for.
Right.
Yeah.
Just be very have some grace, be kind, you know, be understanding, you know, about situations and things that men often at times don't have control over.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what perspective were you thinking of in that aspect?
Being flexible, exactly that. Like, you know, being open if, you know, the guy suggests a restaurant you've never been to, or
And it didn't work out.
Yeah, just being able to make lemonade out of lemons, basically, and not be so, you know, down and negative and mean or whatever whenever something goes wrong. It's really a joy. The best part I think about being in a relationship is that when you go through those moments that, you know, make you want to pull your hair, if you have a spouse there that can help you keep and look at the brighter side of things, or, you know, make you laugh, or like you kind of joke about it or make light of the situation so that it's not so heavy on you guys. That in particular is a great thing for a relationship to have. And it makes it fun to want to go through life with the person. I think in particular, if a guy is out and something goes wrong, like you're at a picnic and it starts raining and you guys run and go and you have to, you know, go somewhere and you're all soaking wet or whatever the case is, just actually being able to laugh about that and making it about a memory that, hey, this happened, this is crazy that it happened, but dang, like this is fun, like, you know, and just being okay with what life presents, that's going to make a guy want to keep going through life with you.
Right. Well, in the case of this woman who goes to, you know, nice restaurants and things and say that she doesn't mind picnics at the beach or whatever the case may be, you know, it got me thinking of like the word stuck up. So don't be stuck up. You know, if you know, I mean, but for real, like, you know, if a woman who's making a good enough money for herself, say she's making like 75,000, and then she's getting with a man who makes like, you know, 45,000, but you know, he's a great guy or whatever the case may be, and she asked him, hey, where do you want to take me for dinner? He said, well, it's going to be a surprise. And then he ends up taking her to um like Fat Burger or something, or Buffalo
Something
Wild
like
Wings.
that, but yeah, I get what
You
you're
know,
saying,
she
though.
may
Yeah.
not be that type of chick. They be like, damn, like, what is this? Like, ew, like this is gross. You know, but it's all about the aspect of spending time with somebody. So don't, you know, like they say, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Just because it may not be a restaurant that you pick. You know, the whole aspect of it is spending time with that person. Order a salad. Shoot, I don't know. You know, just put it all in perspective. Like my wife said, make that lemonade out of the lemons. If it's something that you normally don't do, or food that you normally don't eat, then try to appreciate the time that you all are spending together. Make the best out of that. The conversation, give good conversation, good feedback, make jokes about the place, or you know, make light of it. But you know, just understand that this man is trying and he's trying to connect with you, because I think that's a lot of that needs. That's more. That probably happens more than often, is that guys, you know, average guys are probably coming across women who are making money on their own or whatnot, because like I said before, men who are already making good amount of money, and we don't care about how much money you have. We care about more about your time that you can give to us and help support us, and about us being in our careers, and it will be reciprocated to that woman as well. But we don't need your money, we need your time. So, and vice versa. So for a woman who has a good financial standing, more than likely she's going to come across a man who actually needs her finances more than and her time, to be honest with you. So that man may not have it all put together financially, but he's a good man and he's loyal and he'll be there for you. He'll be supportive in his role of being a man. So don't discount him or count him out if he takes you to you know, a low budget restaurant or whatever the case may be, because all he's trying to do is make a connection with you. This man could be very resourceful and teach you things,
Yeah.
And also you can teach him things too along the way, and be a source of inspiration for him.
And support.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
women who are out there, don't think that you are too good for an average man if you are making a 6-figure salary or what have you. Because more than likely a 6-figure man is, like I said, is not looking for you because you're always working and whatnot. So, you're a lot of times those women's best chance for marriage is more than likely a man who needs them more than they actually need them.
And be willing to help that man.
Right, and be willing to help that man to grow in his business or career, whatever he's doing.
Right, because he could mess around and then out make more money than you eventually. You never know what could happen with a good support.
Right, but usually tradesmen, they stay within their trade. Say for instance, like a woman who's coming out of college and she's like a chemical engineer or something, and then she runs across a man who's a sanitation engineer, garbage man. So he probably will never make as much money as she does, but he can provide companionship, loyalty, that the men qualities of building and maintenance. He knows how to
that house, that expensive house she probably would want.
Right. Fixing. He's probably good at mechanic work. Changing oil, changing filters, air filters. Cabin air filters, like small stuff, or maybe he can rebuild engines. You don't know. So, women women of high value, you just cannot discount average men either. Yeah. So that may be your one ticket or one chance at marriage or love that you may overlook.
Yeah, because value can come in a lot of different forms.
Right.
Not just money. That's
right.
So true.
Right, exactly.
Yep. The last one in particular goes right along with this, and I think it may be the most valuable one when it comes to what a high maintenance woman can do in particular, is to just be appreciative. When you're on this date, regardless of whether your standards are too high or whatever, just be appreciative. You mentioned that earlier, that the time that this guy wants to spend with you, or even like vice versa, the time that this girl is spending with you, just thank them for taking you out in general. Thank them for doing something nice for you. It's hard to find good people that want to just do something nice for you. So don't take that for granted. Just be appreciative of that. And that alone, it won't matter if you dress Gucci down to the socks. It don't matter if you're just appreciative and you show that you appreciate everything that you are offered and given, in the sense of, not being snooty, not being like
stuck
too
up.
Good, like, I'm just, just
stuck up.
Thank you, and go about your way. It will improve the whole image of, you being too high maintenance or whatever. So just, show appreciation no matter what.
Yeah, just be kind, be considerate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't act like you're too damn good for anybody. Mm-hmm. I think especially a lot of young women get caught up in this music, the rap music and all this other stuff, by degrading men, and they want a baller and
or
all
themselves,
this other stuff. Right?
Yeah.
That's unrealistic expectations. Like, my goodness. Yeah. Anyways.
Right, and can't appreciate the small things of life.
Appreciate the real things in life.
Yeah, good direction. That's true, because they are real. It's not small at all.
It ain't small. That's real stuff. People that out
matters.
Here, right? Yeah. Because that's probably a once in a lifetime opportunity for those young ladies to come across a good man who just cares about them naturally. A lot of people out here just trying to take advantage of people, and that's and it always happens that way.
Yeah.
They end up with the wrong person, and then they end up, they look 10 years back like, man, I messed up.
Yeah.
My life could possibly be different had I been with somebody who actually loved me or cared about me.
And appreciate that little date that he took me on that time.
The fat burger. Took me to Fat Burger and bought me that greasy burger.
Right. So true. Another one, this is again kind of for my my ladies. When it comes to your high maintenance beauty routine, right? Be strategic about your purchases. So when you're buying your beauty products, make sure that you are strategic on that. You kind of talked about that. Can you afford that? Make sure that you just aren't buying something because it's the most expensive or the most popular, whatever that is. Actually opt for products that may be more affordable and work just as well. try out different things and really see, just don't buy something because it's super expensive or whatever. Also, of course, sign up for your discounts, your loyalty programs. Look, wait for those sales, especially with those high luxury items that you really just gotta have. Wait for them to go on sale and stuff like that. It's always nice. It doesn't matter how much money you get. I still do the same things when we made $20,000 when we hit six figures. Like, I still do those same things, looking for coupons, looking for sales.
Right, it's resourcefulness.
Yeah,
just be resourceful.
Yes, I still do those things. Yeah,
and it's very hard for for those women who naturally go to. Naturally go, but they go to those beauty salons and stuff, and they want that wet and wavy weave and all that other expensive stuff, weave and whatnot. They just got to get it.
Right? Women, you're beautiful without all of that stuff. I really wish we accepted that more. Maybe we just need to be told that more. But the makeup, the lashes, all that, I get it. You may be wanting to do it for yourself, but God told me to tell you it was just fine the way he had it the first time. So all that extra stuff, it's extra, sure. But truth be told, love yourself. You could really learn a nice natural beauty routine that could help clear your skin up, so you ain't gotta have all the makeup. You can clear your skin up, drink enough water so your body and stuff is vibrant, your skin is healthy. All of that makes a huge difference. Your hair will be growing great if you put things in your body that will help your hair to grow and stuff like that, and learning to maintain it. That's the beauty thing about having high maintenance hair. You gotta learn how to maintain it. That's really what it is. Take care of those luxury items that God gave you naturally, so that then what you're working with for real. Like, I don't know if we've been told that enough as women, but if ain't nobody tell you, we telling you. But anyways, multitask your beauty routine. So for these women that do wear all the makeup,
save time.
Yeah, you wear all the makeup, you do all that stuff. There are some things that you can do to multitask that beauty routine, so your man ain't always like, dang, you spend so much time doing all of this. This will kind of reduce that high maintenance look overall. So wash your face, brush your teeth, same time, do it all at the same time. That cut down time a little bit here and there. Applying your makeup while you're in the shower, that's a quick, and
you can do that?
Yes, you can, because it hydrates your face as you go along. It's actually better for your skin if you actually do that. I'm not a big makeup buff, but when
doesn't mascara runs or something?
Not all your makeup, what you're talking about. Certain stages of the, I know.
You come out the shower looking like a clown. Like, all right, I'm ready. They got mascara drooling all over your face.
Yeah, not the women know what I'm talking about. Not all things you apply. But I get it. That's funny. That's cute.
I mean, that's weird. I would think you brush your teeth in the shower.
As a man, to hear you say it, you're like, you can do that.
Right? Yeah, you brush your teeth in the shower.
Yeah, I don't like doing that.
No, I'm just saying you can do that. Brush your teeth in the shower.
That's the man's way of. That's the man's. I was about to say to save time, but I wouldn't recommend doing that as a woman. That's a little too thug life-ish.
So women, you can brush your teeth, wash your face, and apply your makeup in the shower. That'll save you an hour.
Don't brush your teeth. All I think is some people do it, but all I think is spitting it. I don't want to spit on my feet.
Just spit in your feet. It'll wash out anyway.
That's the girliness in me. That's just me. It's really not probably that bad, but that's just me. We all got our quirks, and I ain't perfect, So, anyways, also too, doing your hair while you're watching TV. So doing those natural hairstyles, while you're watching TV, getting that out the way, so that way your hair is already done for your different events and stuff. We all know this stuff as natural women, but it's always nice to just simple reminders so that you're not looking high maintenance all the time. It's something that you can actually maintain and it'll come off as normal per se. Of course, using natural products, DIY.
Like Guy's Gold.
Yep, Guy's Gold. We talked about that. Handmade products. Natural products are a great way to be more affordable. They're less harmful for your household, for your skin, for your body. You can use them on the whole family. All of that is just making, a great, you don't have to sacrifice the quality for, price in a way. So that's why I really love natural products. So really consider how you can DIY some of the things that naturally do. And last but not least, making sure, we kind of hit on that. That's a little bit more about the DIY products and, customizing yourself, but we kind of hit on that enough. But you want to get into the last part? We are in the last thick of our night. We're running a little late, but since we were late up here, we figured we'd go ahead. you know.
Yep. And dealing with high maintenance people. So here's how you can deal with high maintenance people. Here's some tips. Number one, set boundaries. So it's important to communicate your needs and expectations to high maintenance people in your life. Let them know what you are willing to do for them and what you are not willing to do. So, if your wife always wants to go to this 5-star restaurant every weekend, you tell her no. You're gonna get in that kitchen and we're gonna cook. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna cook. Because I'm not spending $300 every weekend for steak and eggs or whatever the case may be. So you set boundaries.
That Wagyu steak is just as good in your grill at home.
Right. Learn the Wagyu at home.
Right. Exactly.
So also to be assertive. So if the high maintenance person is not interested or respecting your boundaries, you need to be assertive and stand up for yourself. So this doesn't mean being mean or rude to them, but it means that you need to be clear about what you will and will not tolerate.
Yeah.
So you need to establish this stuff before you get married.
Certainly. Yeah. And while you're in a relationship, while you're dating, what the honest conversation that this lady first had when she wrote in about the guy on the date saying, hey, you're a bit too high maintenance. That's the conversations you need to have, because the guy doesn't want to get into something and be like, ooh, I was not prepared for this. This is not what I want. This is not a way, to get off on a good start to your whole thing. You want to be clear on how you want things to go and what you're expecting.
Right. And then take care of yourself. So it's important to make sure that you take care of yourself, both physically and emotionally. Yeah. So if you are consistently giving to the higher maintenance person in your life, you will eventually burn out. So make sure you take some time for yourself to relax and regroup and recharge.
Yeah.
So that's very important. That's what that give and that take that I was talking about. If you're with somebody who's always taking, you're going to run out of time, energy, and money. So you don't want to, you need to set those boundaries so that one, you can reestablish your relationship, or either two, create an exit strategy and let that person know that, hey, this ain't gonna work out. If you're not trying to help me in this relationship, then we need to part ways.
Yeah.
So that's just a realistic situation of, realistic matter of the situation.
Yeah, because you're not obligated to stay with someone that, is draining your energy or making you unhappy. That is no way to have a relationship, regardless of whether you can afford that high maintenance stuff or not. Like, whatever it is. But in particular, emotionally, that's not, a good relationship to be in.
No, not at all. I mean, if you're with somebody, I mean, this reminds me of a lot of stuff. But if you're with somebody who's always, especially those young relationships, if you're the man who's providing and she's also working, but she's always going out without you, and then you all are struggling to make ends meet, why the hell is she going out? If y'all are trying to work together to build a life, a career, then you need to realize that, hey, you know what? Maybe you're not the one for me. And then just suck it up and then just make that exit strategy and get out of there, instead of trying to force and fight somebody to make them stay at home and save money with you, or whatever the case may be. It's not worth it. Not worth the struggle, not worth the emotional distress and the stress in your life. So do better.
Well said, babe.
Yeah.
This is a good topic for tonight. So thank you for writing in, and we hope more and more questions come on in so that we can, guys, help you, tackle some relationship issues and smooth out some things so more people can get married and stay married and build solid families and communities. That's really why we do this.
Right. And stop being materialistic and high maintenance, people. Come on. Yep. So with that being said, Blueprint family, if there's no questions, we appreciated the comments. Thank you. Thank you for those.
Any questions? Oh, yeah, we forgot to say that. Let me check the chat real quick. That chat's good. Let's check our Instagram. Any questions? Nothing? Any requests to join for tonight? On this Monday, we get back in the kick of swing of things. We're going to have another great topic tomorrow, of course.
Yep. So, if you all have any topics you want us to discuss at any time, please hit us up. You can submit that anonymously at www.wifeconomics.com/submit a question. or hit us up in the DM about a topic if you want on Instagram or YouTube or wherever the case may be.
Or Facebook.
Or Facebook. All of those above. Until
Yeah.
next time, Blueprint family, you all have a good night and peace.
26, 27, 28 again.